Next question, Josh Stoville, Somerville, GA. I know this is a better question for Jerry Lawler. I sent this question to his old podcast host several years ago, but it never got brought up, probably because the old podcast host absconded when found out he was a scam artist. Get better soon, Jerry. I wanted to see if Dutch
wait a minute. Now, I got to hear this now. What happened?
Oh, my God. It was a big old story where Jerry ended up getting sued. I think this podcast, I think he's called Gary something. He was promising like signed or like personally drawn pictures to fans from Jerry Lawler taking the money and then not telling Jerry about it. And then essentially got found out and he's just completely ever since he's disappeared. He's off the grid. That was a few years ago.
So he took in a lot of money for something he didn't deliver.
Yes, and didn't tell Jerry about it either. Yeah.
That's fraud.
Yeah. So anyway, he's disappeared.
And I can imagine if he told Lawler that would have never happened because Lawler said, no, I'm not doing that. And I don't think his what was he charging for a picture?
Oh, he's charging probably like four figures. He's probably like $1,500 or something. So he was coining it in. Yeah.
Damn, that's major fraud.
Yeah. Hey, if anyone wants me to do a picture
fans, listen. If fans want any picture of them drawn from me individually, it's nowhere like $1,500. It's $100, and I'll sign it at the bottom.
Yeah, and
it may not look like you, but believe me, it's legitimate, it's authentic, and it's from me with love, Dutch.
Is this a good time to mention that I've been taking orders for you to draw pictures for the fans that have been charging $1,500 a picture? And actually, I'm going now. Goodbye.
That would be a good time. And I say I would be calling your girlfriend, who I've never met, by the way, and say, where did James go? And she said, that's a good question. Where did he go? And they'd probably find you on some Mediterranean island somewhere. You've been doing this for a year, so you probably taken in about $400,000 to $500,000 and absconded. I like that word, absconded. Okay, but that is a good word.
So
read the question. I don't think a lot of people knew that out there.
Oh well, it was called like Dinner with the King or something like that. Anyway, I wanted to see if Dutch has any memories that he'd be willing to share about Lawler's pre-Jimmy Hart manager, Sam Bass, who died in a car accident in 1976. I'm not even sure, would you have ever even met Sam Bass at that point?
No, I met him. I knew him. I had worked there before. Not for long, but I did.
Basically, any memories of Sam Bass? Sadly, I think he's been a largely forgotten figure. Thanks and keep up the great work.
Yeah, he is a largely unforgotten figure. He just worked in Memphis. He was a rustler, but I talked about Eddie Kingston being street. Sam was the same thing, except he was country street, and he would get those people worked up because everybody in the arena thought they could kick his ass, and he was drunk about half the time, even when he's with Lawler. But Lawler got so much heat, and Sam already had some. So together they were a hot duo, as long as they had strong baby faces. And he did at the time. He had Jackie Fargo, and he had Bill Dundee, and he had those ones they would bring in from every now and then to challenge Lawler. But Sam, I don't know where he was from. He was from somewhere, I'm sure, around Memphis, either in Tennessee or Arkansas, I would think. Never knew exactly where he was from, but he was the same way outside the ring as he was when he did an interview. It's the same time. He didn't change anything. He just took Sam Bass off the streets and put him Sam Bass on camera. He sounded the same. I think he was. I don't know a lot about him, but I do remember him getting killed on that bridge coming back from Memphis, because Sam drove like a bat out of hell. And Lawler drove like a bat out of hell. And I read one night that Sam asked him, I think that night, did Jerry want to ride with him? And Lawler said, no, I got to go do something else. They both lived in Nashville at the time. So, and had Lawler been with Sam, I can't say the same thing would have happened. But if Lawler been in that accident, he'd have gotten killed too. So what happened when they was coming down I-40 here's Memphis, and here's Nashville, and I know exactly where it happened. I think it happened at mile marker 164, I think, because I crossed that bridge every time we went to Memphis coming back. It was on the way back to Nashville. And what had happened, I think some car was stalled on the bridge. And I think by the time Sam drove so fast, he didn't, and he had no lights on the car because it was stalled. And by the time he got there, they just crashed right into it. I think it was stalled leading onto the bridge, and then killed all three of them instantly. Pepe Lopez, and I can't remember the other guy that got killed. And it was a bad wreck. And a lot of the other, since they drove 100 miles an hour, there was a lot of wrestlers still leaving Memphis. They left later than they did. And so that they would probably come along about 30 minutes later or maybe more. And the traffic was backed up, even though the traffic at that time of night, it'd be about 1:00 in the morning, 12:30 anyway. I don't know how much traffic would be backed up, but they probably, it was a big scene. And some of the wrestlers passed and they said, that looks like Sam's car. So they went down, and I remember Jerry Jarrett told me this. He went and parked his car, him and Tojo. He rode a lot with Tojo. And they went back and they said, that's Sam's car. And they saw no ambulances around. So they had to figure, just police cars. They had to figure that those guys were dead. I think they asked some of the officers there, the state patrol officers, what do you got? And then they said they worked with this guy. And I think they told him they were dead, which they're not supposed to do, by the way. I mean, that was, I guess you could, 1976, you could tell people without telling next of kin. I don't think they give much thought to that, but they were dead instantly. Mm. And Lawler, like I said, he drove a bat out of hell too. And he got there pretty quick. I think he was the first one on the scene of the guys. Of course, you had guys leaving earlier in the night that were on earlier, but these guys were there to the end, so they'd all leave about the same time. But as far as personal knowledge about Sam, I didn't have a lot. I do know that they drove fast because they used to pass me on the road sometimes, and they go whoosh. And I was doing 70, or whoever I was with was driving. They would be the driver of the car, not me, because I didn't drive that much. I tried not to. And they thought it was funny. And it's funny until one day it's not. So that was the day it wasn't funny.
The third person was Frank Hester.
Frankie Hester.
Yeah. I-4 and near Dixon, Tennessee, apparently.
Yeah, it was.
We will
Dixon, Tennessee. And that's about 40 miles or 50 miles from Nashville.